All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today is a very special day for a lot of reasons. Today is the day that we dedicate the prosecutor suite to Jim Icenogle. Jim served as the elected prosecutor of Camden County for 28 years and somehow retained all his hair in that 28 years. I am not faring so well in a very short period of time. There has not been a week since I moved here 4 years ago that his name has not come up. Jim passed 13 years ago today, actually. We chose this day for the solemnity of the day and to honor his memory. I can think of no person who has had a more tremendous impact on the judiciary, on the legal system in Camden County than Jim Icenogle. Obviously, by the attendance today, he was a beloved person. He was a character. And the stories are phenomenal. So if you have time, share those stories today. We do have an agenda today. I'm going to ask Pastor Brown here in a moment to do the prayer for us. I would like to thank some people before we get started for making this possible. My name is Caleb Cunningham. I've been working on this for several months, and part of county government is that there's lots of little fiefdoms, and we were able to all agree to get this done. Jim was a phenomenal man, and to unite Camden County elected officials is a phenomenal feat. The commission has signed a proclamation that we will be presenting today. I want to thank the secretaries. They've put together a lovely spread for us today. Please, when we're done here, go through the lobby of the prosecutor's office. We have a bronze and a painting of Jim. That's the actual suite that's being dedicated in his honor. We wouldn't all fit down there, and we barely all fit in here. We were going to be in a larger courtroom, but there's a jury trial going on today. But this day was important. We wanted to make sure we did it on this day. So Pastor Brown, if you wouldn't mind saying a few words.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. O God of our country and our world, we are gathered together today to say thank you for a life well lived through service to our Lake of the Ozarks area. We are grateful for Jim's commitment to his community, and we are thankful, O God, for your eternal presence and love that you have showed us through the ups and downs of life. Be with all of us gathered here today as we celebrate and remember Jim's commitment to justice and community, and empower us to be hopeful, inspired, and loving people in your holy name. As a united family, we pray together. Amen.
Amen. And Pastor Brown is with Community Christian Church. I wanted to mention that. Do you have the, can I steal it? I'm going to introduce Judge Coppin. Judge Coppin is going to make some remarks. Judge Coppin had, at the time, was one of the assistant prosecutors for Jim, worked and was profoundly impacted by Jim. If Judge Coppin, if you wouldn't mind saying a few words.
So this is incredible to see all of you here. Some people I haven't seen in a long time, and that's unfortunate. Fortunate in some circumstances, but unfortunate most of the time. No, it's really good to see everybody and to see Jay saying, hey, who's that? Of course, it was Mr. Sellers. But it is wonderful to be here. So in 2004, I was working as a Rule 13 attorney down in the Public Defender's Office, and I had been spending all summer studying for the bar examination. And, there are some students that were like me, but most law students don't have 2 kids and a wife that they're trying to support through law school, and I did. And I'll tell you what, I had more stress loaded upon my shoulders preparing for and studying that bar examination, because I knew if I didn't pass, that I was going to have to flip burgers or do something to support my family. I mean, it's going to be a rough go. And so I took the bar examination, and then you got to wait for a certain amount of time to get the results back. And the results came in. I was in court, so I rushed back to the office down in Lebanon. And I'm sitting in this room on this computer, and I'm opening up the website, and I'm scrolling down, and I see my name, and I'm alone in there, and I just scream with joy because my name is on there, and I passed the bar exam, right? I'm going to become an attorney. And all of a sudden, this guy pokes up around the corner, and he says, "Are you okay?" That was the first time I ever saw or met Jim Icenogle. He was the first person to say congratulations for passing the bar exam. And it's so, even today, that memory is so vivid of that. That's my very first time ever seeing a man that impacted my life and my family's life in a very deep way. And a couple years went by, and I practiced law as a defense attorney. And then I tried to run for prosecutor. I was way too young, way too inexperienced, and the people of Webster County were very smart not to elect me. I agree with them. I finished dead last in a 4-person race. So there were 2 people that really knew that I shouldn't be a prosecutor at that time. I think it was God and Jim Icenogle. Because after that, Jim Icenogle, he hired me to come up here and be an assistant prosecutor with him. And I'm forever thankful for that, because that's when my family and I made the move to Lake of the Ozarks, and I began my career as a prosecutor, and I learned so much from Jim. He really was a bigger picture kind of guy. You know, he didn't really pay a lot of attention to micromanaging me as an assistant prosecutor, but he would just do subtle things. Like one time I remember a case that I had where I just wanted to nail this guy. I mean, as a prosecutor, I looked at the evidence. I'm like, this guy needs to go away for a long time, and this and that, and I'm thinking I'm going to take this to trial and ask for the max, right? And he comes in, or I go into his office, I'm talking to him about the case, and he's just like, calm down. Remember, the purpose of the justice system and our purpose is to apply just enough pressure to change someone, okay? Not more, not less, but just enough. And that's when I learned that, and he taught me, that there is a bigger picture you always have to watch out for in the justice system. And he taught me the importance of that our job is not to create a police state, is to apply just enough pressure to make sure that we maximize our freedoms and our liberties and do the things that allow us all to live happily and in peace and safety. And so that was one experience, one very important lesson that I learned from Jim. The other wasn't in the office at all. In fact, it was all of the things outside of the office. I went to, I kind of like the background, if I can continue. Really adds to my presentation. But my wife and kids and I went out to Utah in the dead of winter to see her family for Christmas. And first of all, he thought I was crazy. I mean, he was literally upset at me for choosing to drive my family through the Rocky Mountains in December and January and come back in January, right at the change of the year. And on our way back, sure enough, we hit a massive snowstorm. And we were just inching, 5-10 miles an hour. We could barely see the truck in front of us. And wouldn't you know it, he's on the phone the entire time, calling us frequently. He's on his computer saying, all right, it looks like the storm's going to clear up here. They're going to shut down the highway here. And this is back when, you didn't really have the smartphone weather app kind of stuff. Internet was around, and so I don't know that he even slept that night. He was that concerned about myself, my wife, and our kids. And he cared about me. And he saw a potential in me that I didn't even see. And that meant the world to me. And I am very thankful for that. And even when we went up to Devin's, is Devin leaving here? He was another. We went up to his wedding in Kansas City. We went and saw family and went to his church that he grew up. I think we may have even gone by and seen the home that he was raised in or lived in. He just cared about family. Now, one final story and then I'm done. So, my wife loves genealogy. Jim actually started to dabble in genealogy, or I don't know if maybe he did it a long time, but I remember him calling me into his office one day. And he was so serious. It was almost like he was about to cry. I'm like, what in the world? Am I in trouble? Is something going on? And he sits me down and he's like, what I'm about to tell you is hard for me to say. But I just found out that my ancestors killed your ancestors. What are you talking about, Jim? It's like, well, Governor Lilburn Boggs, back in the Mormon Wars, there were a bunch of Kansas City folks that went around and tried to kill men, women, and children that were Mormons. And I know that your church, and I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sad. I'm like, Jim, it's all right. You didn't do it. This was in the 1800s. And I don't have any ancestors that were members of the church back in the 1800s, so we're good. But it was just so funny and kind of cute that he cared that much, that he called me in to apologize for his ancestors killing what he thought were my ancestors, which were not. But anyway, needless to say, I'm standing where I am today, not just as professionally, but personally. And Jim Icenogle played a significant role and contributed significantly to the life that me and my family enjoy. And I'm thankful for that. And so, Jim, if you're listening, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Icenogle stories, like I said, we all collect Icenogle stories, and I'm going to add some of those to the repertoire. Doug Kendi here is my chief assistant prosecuting attorney. He's been here since Moses came down with the tablets, and was a prosecutor under Jim as well. I know Jim had a profound impact on his career and on his life as he touched so many other people. And I asked him to speak today because it would not be complete without your remarks.
Thanks a lot for that, by the way. I don't do this very well. Didn't do it very well the first time. You had to be here with me.
I can't speak for you.
Found is an understatement. There are a few things I covet. This is one of them. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Every time somebody left, you had to have a picture taken with the boss. And that's mine. He loved this guy so much. There was just us two, the assistants, which means basically I had to do everything because he was always in his office. Talking about something, whatever it was. Doug, just do that trial. Just prep that trial. It's Aaron's trial. Just do that trial, Doug. All right, then, whatever you say.
Selective memory.
Yeah, you're right. I've had the blessing to work with some really great people. Several of them work for great people. Several of them are in here right now. Michael, Heather's here. Caleb's here. Jim will always be the boss. So.
Breathe.
Dang it. One quick story. For me, when I met him as a public defender, we worked together, and up here we worked together. He was always a smart one. He was a solid one. Yeah, you. We worked good together. Jim taught us so much. I used to get, my office was right next to his, and I used to get, Douglas! I have to go in there, so I either pissed off Jack Bennett or usually it was to teach me something. So he said, "Why'd you file this case?" And I'm like, "Because I can, Jim. Because I can. I'm the prosecutor. That's what I do." And he goes, why'd you file this case?" And I'm like, "Son of a gun, dang it." And same thing. It's not about being in a police state. It's about just enough pressure to change somebody's behavior. And man, I think of that every time. One of my best, I guess, attaboys I ever get from her, because she says all the time, "What would Doug do?" Because I used to say, "What would Jim do?" Every day I sit in that office. I say, "Well, that son of a gun." Yeah. I try to do what he would do, the way he would do it. Not very well do I do it very often, but I try. When my wife, she wasn't my wife at the time, I said, she was public defender secretary, so we all met, and I said, hey, guess what? I got a new job. She's like, oh, good for you. I was in private practice. I hated it, didn't like it. And she said, hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to be Camden County prosecuting attorney, assistant prosecuting attorney. She said, no, you're not. I said, yeah, I am. She goes, I hate that man. I said, you don't know that man. Jim would call the office and say, Icenogle, give me whoever you wanted. Yeah, I mean, every time he did it, called OCP, Icenogle, give me whatever cop you wanted. 6 months later, she loved him as much as I did. So, same thing. We're on our way to Yellowstone. She's on the phone and he's on the other end. Well, mile marker yet? I'm at this mile marker. Well, if you look out your right window, she's looking out there on the phone. And it's this. And look out the left side, and it's this. And it's this. An amazing man. Amazing. I miss him every day. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I got one more thing. I tried to do this a long time ago, and this was the beginning. This guy did all of this. He did it all. He got the commissioners on board. Are there any commissioners here?
They're in depositions.
That they were amazing to let him do this. The office looks amazing. He did all this, Vicki. He did it. So I got shot down when I tried, and this guy did it all. So
I think when you dedicate a life to public service, this is the least we can do as a community, because Jim gave 28 years of his life to us. I'm proud to be standing before you, and we were just a collaborator is all it was. I'm honored to be here giving you this today, and this was a good segue. The commission has signed a proclamation that they wanted me to read to you. Whereas William James Jim Icenogle was elected prosecuting attorney of Camden County in 1980, and whereas William James Jim Icenogle had served his country honorably in the United States Navy, achieving the rank of lieutenant, and whereas William James Jim Icenogle served as the elected prosecutor in Camden County for more than 28 years, and whereas William James Jim Icenogle had a profound impact on the citizens, the judicial system, and his fellow practitioners, and whereas William James Jim Icenogle demonstrated a lifelong dedication to public service, and whereas the County of Camden recognizes William James Jim Icenogle for his many years of dedicated service within the county, now therefore, we, the Commissioners of Camden County, in appreciation of William James Jim Icenogle's devotion to county, state of Missouri, to the United States of America, and to his fellow man, desire that there should be a permanent record of gratitude, and do hereby proclaim that the Prosecutor's Office of the Camden County Justice Center shall henceforth be named Jim Icenogle Prosecutor Suite. And I would like to present to you this Miss Vicki. When I was putting this together, we thought it would be extra special. I reached out to Representative Susie Pollack, who represents us in the legislature, and she was able to get a resolution from the state Congress to present to you today, and also recognition of his dedication and service. This would not have been possible without Representative Pollack. She understood the gravity of this situation, and her assistant, and she pushed it through very quickly. We certainly appreciate them and would like to present you with this as well. So we're going to adjourn. There's food up here. There is a painting of Jim in my office, so if you go downstairs to the prosecutor suite, please don't leave without seeing the painting. Hung at eye level so he can stare everybody down that comes in my office from here to forever. There is a bronze in his honor as well, and then the dedication at the top. We've presented the proclamations, and I'm so happy you're here today, Vicki. I hope this is a special for you. Again, I know it's 13 years too late, but here we are. Thank you all for being here. Please stay and share stories about Jim. Think of him today and as you move forward. Thank you.